Hello, everyone. Yes, I know you guys thought I had been abducted by aliens, but I had not. Just had a lot of things shifting and going on in my personal life, so which put me in pause for a second. But there's always a method to the magic that's in motion. So hopefully you all have been keeping on point and taking these lessons and applying them to your life, because complaining is not a strategy. I think that has really been the biggest. I think that's kind of like the fan favorite. Complaining is not a strategy. What do you guys think? But I think that one has really been a big deal. That stops a lot of conversations, gets people, stops them in their tracks, and a lot of people. I got some really great comments again offline. I got a bunch of text messages about the "you only live once." It's like, and it's like, yeah, that's a yeah. I have to keep watching. Somebody, whoever invented these ridiculous sayings, is going to come. They're going to come gunning for me one day. It's like, who you think you are? I'm like, I am Demetra Tate, and I am talking about the method to the magic. You guys know I love singing the title of my book, and just in low, and there's no more boxes. There are not any more boxes. We're getting rid of boxes. We're not thinking outside of boxes anymore. We're just getting rid of boxes, and we're just thinking, right? So I know I'm a couple episodes, a couple of lessons behind, but I'm back on track now. So since I owe you guys 2 lessons, this is going to be, this particular episode rather, is going to be 2 lessons in one, and then I'll get back on track next week, right? So, as I told you guys, not going in order. So for those of you who think that episode 5 and 6 were lessons 5 and 6, well, you're wrong. Because it was like, lesson 5 was actually episode 6. So I'm just combining them into 2. But this is going to be a good thing, right? So get ready. And remember, we've been through this before. Subscribe, like, share if you like these, and let me know what you guys think, because I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of the really thoughtful. I've gotten some really sweet emails and phone calls and text messages and Facebook messages and everything. People wondering where I am, but your girl is back to pick it back up, right? So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to do lessons 11 and lesson 5, right? So we're going to combine those into episode 5. Lesson 11 was all I do is win. All I do is win, right? And lesson 5, I just want to make sure I get my titles right, is that listen to learn, not to agree and disagree, right? So I'm going to combine those 2 lessons into one episode for a lot of really good reasons. And I'm going to start with the all I do is win, right? Because I talk in my book about how there's a lot of people that say that sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, and I actually just don't agree with that. I believe that sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. So therefore, I believe that if you're learning, you're winning. So if you're winning, if wins win, and if you're learning, you're winning, then that's where I come at with this. All I do is win. All I do is win. And one of the things that I say, and I've heard this so many times, it's like I have a wins only mentality, because if something doesn't go the way that I necessarily wanted it to go, the first thing that I do now, this is the newly created, newly invented Demetra Tate. The Demetra Tate from back in the day used to lose her stuff if something didn't go that way. But and I talk in my book about how, a lot of you guys know that I used to play basketball, and that's where I got that philosophy and that concept about sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And when I was playing basketball, sometimes, we didn't always, the scoreboard wasn't always in our favor, but our coach, she was so amazing. And she would always, at the end of every game, we would watch videos of the games, and she would always teach us. Like there was a lesson in everything. It was always a lesson in something. And so for me, and I could give you guys so many examples about the things that I've just experienced just in the last 3 weeks that would have normally would have had some people probably jumping. Okay, some people probably would have jumped, but when things have not gone the way that I like, the first thing I do is I say, like, what is the lesson that I'm supposed to learn in this? Why did this happen? What am I supposed to learn from this? And that's what I look for. And I find it and I celebrate it and I get very, 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 very excited about it. I celebrate it. I get really happy. And because I'm like, no, there's something I'm supposed to learn. And I'm telling you guys, if you can really get that in your spirit and really get that just deep in your heart, and you life will take on such a different meaning. It really, really will. Because complaining, as we've talked about, that was like, what, I don't remember which episode that was. That was episode 2. Complaining is not a strategy. Lesson 10, episode 2. And that's what it is, because you're not going to add a single second to your life by complaining. It just doesn't work. It's a waste of time and it's annoying. So if you know that if you get into this mindset, and when something doesn't go well, you don't get the project, or you don't get this, or it's like, what was I supposed to learn from that? Like, what, there's a lesson for me in that. And if you take that and you get that in your heart, I'm telling you guys, that is a method to the magic. You will shock people, because there's things that happen to me and people are like, oh my gosh, she's gonna flip. I'm like, she's gonna flip her shiz. I said shiz on purpose, and it's like, no, there's something I'm supposed to learn from this. There's a lesson in this for me, and I will pump my brakes, and I will woo-saw, and I will pause, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to just when I represent myself, it is going to be a representation of myself, and I'm going to celebrate the win in it, and then I'm going to move on with it. Some people probably think I got a split personality, because those of you who are really close to me will be like, oh my God, like, I can't believe she's not like losing her mind. And it's because I look for the lesson, and then I apply the lesson the minute that I discover it. Okay? So if you get that in your spirit, then you will figure out that all that you do is win. I live a wins only life. Period. I don't care. When I'm sitting here now, and it's like, and I don't know. I think I don't know if the night bugs are eating me alive or something like that. I think that's like, no, Demetri, you probably should stop. You probably need to put on a pair of leggings and a long sleeve shirt. I mean, it's just like, because that's just what it is. But all that I do is win, and so think about that, right? So that's one of the. So that's lesson 11. Now lesson 5. This is one of my favorites, and everything. Listening. Yo, I'm telling y'all some real stuff. Some of y'all, and I'm just going to call it what it is, some of y'all really suck at listening. I mean, you just really do. You have listening all wrong. And I could go, I'm telling you, I would be putting all my business out there. I could give you start to the finish line examples. They're just terrible listeners. Because you want to know why? Because people listen to agree or disagree. It's like they're listening because they're like, okay, they're trying to figure out, do I agree? Do I disagree? And that's what they're listening for. And then they miss the whole daggone point. It's like, no, listen to learn. That's what listening is for. You listen so that you can learn. And because even if you may not necessarily agree or disagree with what's being said, but at least if you listen to learn, you'll have a better understanding about, especially when you're dealing with like any sort of relationship, be it personal, professional, anything. If you take the time to listen to learn, you can, and I'm gonna tell you what'll happen. And I can look, I have hat, t-shirt, and bumper sticker about this. If you take the time to listen to learn, then at least once you get to the point of deciding whether or not you agree or disagree with what's being said, you'll be living in peace, not in pieces. Excuse me, because when you're listening and you're just confrontational, it's like, oh, I don't agree with it, I don't disagree with this and everything. Because but the bottom line is that it is what it is. Whether or not you agree with it or disagree, it doesn't freaking matter. I mean, it's just, it still is what it is. So at least take the time to understand what it is that's being communicated to you. Understand what's going on. You know, you think about this country. It's like, you know, I mean, we're still wearing masks. I'm not wearing a mask right now because I'm inside and I'm not social distancing because I'm inside. I don't need to protect myself from myself, But there's things that are going on, and it's like, and if you agree or disagree with it, it does not matter at the end of the day. And so at least at the very minimum, do yourself a favor and just understand what's going on, and everything will just work out better if you do that. Listen to learn, not to agree or disagree. And that's what listening is for. Some of y'all, and I'm gonna tell you, now, if I was on point, I'm behind, because today's Monday, but I'll be back on Sunday next week. So, there's a challenge. There's always a challenge because I love challenges. And I'm going to, for the challenge, I feel that the all I do is win piece. That's pretty kind of self-explanatory. This listening to learn piece, woo, that's the challenge. Okay? So, commit yourself. Let's do that. Since I'm recording this on Monday and tomorrow's Tuesday, go 24 hours without, just pump your brakes. Do not just immediately, oh, I don't agree. Oh, I disagree with anything. Pump your brakes. Slow your roll. Slow down. And just listen to learn. Learn something. Process it. Take the time. Woo-saw. Breathe. And listen to learn. And and you'll probably stop pissing people off if you do that too. Just listen to learn, because it is what it is, right? So anyway, so those are my two lessons rolled into one episode. Next week we'll be back to single. I don't know what I'll do. I'll figure it out. I'll be back next week though, because I miss this. Because I'm telling you guys, as I've said to you in previous episodes, like this is like therapy for me. I love my book. I read my book, and I love talking to people about my book because I believe that the lessons are very valuable. They help me. I live them every single solitary day. I live them. I really do. And so this wasn't just a whole, oh, you write this book and then you go to sleep. No, I read my book all the time. I have my book I have the paperback. I've got it on my phone. I have it on my iPad. I have it on my Chromebook. I have it everywhere. I listen to my book. So share, talk to people about it, and let's keep this going. All right. So next week. So remember the method to the magic. Get rid of the box. There's no more boxes. Everything. All right. So thank you guys for your support and your love. Thank you for all of your wonderful, just thoughtful. I appreciate it, but I'm okay. All right. So y'all see that I'm okay. And so hopefully this will get me off the hook for some people who are just been like, where in the heck is Demetra? But Demetra is fine, okay? And and all I do is win, and I'm gonna come out on top, and you are too. All right? See you guys. Love you guys.